I started a little bit early. This is a live stream, Friday night live stream. This is the time where we kind of goof around, although we could talk about Flintnapping. My name is Patrick. The channel name is at Crafty. Hey, Jesse's here. Hey, first one. Door prize is a golf clap. Jay Valente is here, second. Tommy Taylor is here, almost second. The time is the same. Little timestamps are the same, but Jay beat you to it. AFC is here. Jesse's here. Tommy Taylor. Lance McLean, right? McIlwain. Outcast Metal Detecting. What up? Styley Designs is here. Buckskin NYB. You guys, they're just waiting, I suppose. I started kind of early. Yeah, we can talk about Flintnapping or anything you want. I'm going to start skipping over a lot of the chat unless there's a question. I'm going to try to answer questions in the chat. Ross Wellman is here. Stonehead 62. Scott Lauer is here. Hey, hello. Bill Taylor, hello. Alan Cole. Dang, early Friday night. Yeah. Bran is here. Not going to miss another one. Not today. Jesse's here. Yeah, I've seen, or yeah. I saw your entrance. Across the pond has arrived. Yes, the internationals are here, or at least one. Let's see. There's 19 watching, and there's less than 19 of you on the chat. We might have more internationals than just the one. Did you try that KRF out yet? Not any more of it than I was experimenting with on video during that live stream. Did I napped a little bit of that? I don't remember now. I have not napped any stone since the last live stream. Except no, I did a video last night. Yeah. I don't consider that real napping because it was not as stressful as the thinning. Stonehead 62 says you taught me to flake. Awesome. I'm glad the videos are useful because sometimes I'm wondering, am I just going over the same old, and not really showing anything good? Nice obsidian points, Jesse. Yeah, some of you guys have channels. In case the new guys don't know, some of these guys in the chat have their own channels. So check them out. I can't be posting videos every day because I get burnt out. Believe it or not, I don't like the attention all that much. Yeah, hit the likes before Keith arrives because you will be sorry. Yeah. Jesse is here. Thanks, Alan. Local Arizona Stone. Brian Olson is here. The rock you used the hammer on made my teeth hurt. Yeah, even through the video. Yeah, that made my teeth hurt. It made everything hurt. Yeah. That rock hurt me to my back teeth, as they say in the UK. Let's see. Rob Schultz is here. I made it. First time watching your live show. Yeah, I wish it was a show, but it's just a chat, live chat. I might turn it into a show eventually. Stonehead 62, very useful videos. So thank you. Jesse says, Pat taught me angles, abrasion, indirect, very appreciative. Jay got me all excited about the hunt for my own stone. Yeah. Watch Jay Valente's channel if you want to know how to go about finding your own stone. Now, in case you don't know, not every location has its own stone. In fact, like where I am in Vermont, all we have is Victorian era buildings and granite and slate. That's all we have here. We don't have anything good to nap. Slate can be ground down into arrowheads, and we've got a variety, many varieties of slate. And the red slate's pretty cool. I can grind arrowheads out of that stuff. But as far as nappable materials, I have to go west and north around Lake Champlain here in Vermont, and then I got to go further west into New York if I want any free stone that's any good. Jay says, Patrick taught me indirect too. Wouldn't still be napping if not for indirect. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Sometimes I mess around with the impossible stone, says Brian. I use the solid aluminum. That's a good one. Jim Main is here. Hello, hello. Alan says, welcome to the powerful Jack Crafty experience, buddy. Buckskin NYB. This is Marty. I was working on some this morning and I sent you the picture of what I had done. One small point and one about a 3-inch point. Yeah, he's talking about the Knife River Flint. Yeah, people want to see me do that on video. So I'm going to be napping Knife River Flint on video, and I'm going to be doing Scotts Bluffs and Edens and Clovises all week until I can finally get it down to where I can at least make something that looks kind of like that. You can't see because the lighting's terrible. This is an Eden point, and it's long and narrow. You got to start out with a big piece to get something that long. And to get that narrow with the central ridge, see that? It's almost like beveled on all 4 sides, and the bevel just meets in the middle. Yeah. But it takes time to develop the preform. Now, let's see, how long is this? I'll be working on this type of point. These narrow ones, these long, narrow ones. Yes, 3.5 inches. Normally, when I work on something 3.5 inches long, it's pretty wide. See, to go from really wide to really narrow, you can see how much material is lost. If you cut it off right here, let's say you cut it off right there, where at the bottom of the Eden point. Look how much material you got to remove to get to that narrowness. See that? So it's very wasteful to make these. So, luckily I have plenty of material now. And I have some material that needs to be heat treated that'll increase the stock once I've got it heat treated. I'm going to move my heat treat inside the house because that's the only way it'll get it done. I've been trying to figure out how to do the heat treat outside or in the basement, and I'm just not motivated to do that. Let's see. Jesse says, indirect saves me joints, saves the joints. I was having tendonitis from the pressure work. Yeah, that is true. Same with me. I was having tendonitis from pressure flaking and various other activities, but now it's better. I can do pressure flaking now. Once I'm going to say this over and over again, that once I changed my diet, a lot of things changed. Marty says, it seems to respond to steel better than copper. I see. The stuff you're napping, it seems to respond better to steel. Yeah. That administers here, that heat treat from last night, the first thing I was napping that says dacite on it, that it reminds me of a quartzite. Anyway, that stuff, I'm going to be napping that in a smaller form, but I couldn't nap that stuff if it wasn't for my change in diet that helped me strengthen up my wrists and stuff and get rid of the carpal tunnel syndrome and all and the swollen knuckles and swollen fingers. Rob Schultz says, I've been napping for 30 years. I always play a video of a napper when I am napping. I'm a student of Mr. Whitaker. I see. Hello from Pittsburgh, says Charles Rooker. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. AJ Williams is here. Hello, Pat. Question. If I heat treated to 325 degrees using your method and tested it after cooling and it needed to go higher, let's say 375 to 400, what do I need to do? The same thing as before. You just, once you get it back in the turkey roaster, you don't need to dry it out at 200 degrees for 24 hours. You don't, right? So second heat, you just put it in, crank it to 250, let it sit for half an hour, crank it to 300, let it sit for half an hour, crank it to 350, let it sit for half an hour, and then to either 375 or 400 and let it sit for 4 hours. I let mine sit for 4 hours at the final temperature. Once that time period is over, after 4 hours, you just turn it all the way to zero and let it cool down for 12 hours. Don't peek, okay? Don't peek in there. You can do this in your kitchen oven. Yeah, doesn't matter if it's a gas or electric oven. And the temperature gauge on your kitchen oven is going to work much better than the temperature gauge on the turkey roaster. Okay? The dial, if you're using the dial on the turkey roaster as your temperature gauge, it's not going to work right. You've got to drill a hole in the side of the turkey roaster up near the rim, stick a temperature gauge that is used for barbecue grills. You know, it kind of screws in, 3/8-inch hole, it screws right in. And you can buy those temperature gauges on Amazon. And then that will tell you the correct temperature. Okay. But if you do it in your kitchen oven, as long as nobody cares, because sometimes it does get kind of smelly. It's not toxic or anything. It just smells weird. As far as I know, it's not toxic. But anyway, you can do it in your kitchen oven, and it will work. Let's see. Ask for Corn says, I agree. Indirect was so critical for me to improve. I'm very glad. And if for some reason, indirect percussion allows you to learn quickly too. Like if I teach it to brand new nappers and children, they pick it up really fast. If you're an old timer napper, you usually go, I already got my setup, I got my ways, I got everything I need. I only use indirect if I have no other option. Those are the guys that, they don't benefit too much from it. Let's see. Jim Main says, agreed with everyone. Watching and learning from Patrick's indirect has greatly improved my napping. Oh, thank you. Hey, Jay Williams, can I reheat by starting at 200 and just start to ramp it up to the desired? Yeah, without the 24 hours, yeah. Yes, absolutely. Charles Rooker, Coshocton, Ohio, napping coming up in May. Coshocton, Ohio. Let's see what we got. I got my list of nappings. Yeah, so let's see what we got for Ohio. I think I got that one, the date for that one. If not, I'll tell you the date. I mean, if I don't have it already posted. Because sometimes I update these cards and I don't. Okay, I do. I have Coshocton County Fairgrounds. Is that the one? In Coshocton, Ohio. Yeah. I'm going to do a little screen thingy with my information. 704 South 7th Street, Coshocton, Ohio, 43812. There are the contact numbers, May 23rd through 25th. And there's also one in August, 29th through 31st of this year. See that? You can take a screenshot. Are you able to take a screenshot or are you going to memorize that? Some of you guys have photographic memories. So I wish I did. All right. So I'm glad you guys are keeping up with the nappings in the comment section. That way you can check me and then I can post what I've got. And you can correct whatever needs to be corrected. Let's see. Scott Lauer says, yep, Patrick taught me indirect. Forever grateful. Okay. I'm very glad it works for you. I really had no other choice. Nothing else was working that great. I mean, I probably would have taken forever to learn pressure flaking, and then doing intricate work with these boppers. I couldn't do it. Let's see. It would have taken even longer than it took me. Ken Winton is here. Arizona is nice and warm. The hands feel good here. Awesome. It's been like 50 some odd degrees today. We had a cold front come in and we have constant rain. It's just slow, constant rain. There isn't a lot of flooding, although there are some flood warnings. Gary's here. Bushy is here. Frodo Joe is Bushy. Don Reed is actually Gary. Administer, inspire me. The weather is good. I got the results of my biopsy. I am cancer free and ready to make blades. Yeah, it's always a good feeling. When the tests come out negative, for cancer. Yeah, my sister had cancer. She recovered from stage 4 cancer. She went through some rough chemo and all that stuff. All of her hair fell out, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Jay says, "Hey, Gary. Hey, Bushy. Hey, okay, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Everyone say hi. Marty Emerson is here. Good evening. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Thank you. Are you saying hello and then goodbye also? The same time?" Charles Rooker says, "I hope I never get good enough to want to take on that death site. The man who sent that to you is a prankster." I wish. I think he sent it to me in all seriousness because, yeah, people want to see it. Rez Tyson, hello, hello. Bushy says, "Gary, hi, still raining here." Yep. It's still raining here outside, but it's light out. It's odd to be like 8 p.m. and still have some light showing. See that? And I got new drapes or new curtains. Uh, it helps with the background, and also at in the evenings or in the mornings when there's light out, I can sleep because it gets dark with those shades. The new drapes keep it nice and dark in here. I slept good yesterday. Let's see. Alan Cole says, "Cook the rocks while making hamburger turds." Yeah. Do you know what hamburger turds are? Let me see. I'll show you what hamburger turds are because I think it's funny. I'm going to show you anything that I think is funny. Yeah. Well, maybe not everything. Okay. So I eat mostly ground beef if I'm going to buy beef because it's the cheapest. And I'm on a carnivore diet. And what I do is I just plop these little bits of hamburger. These are cut in half. They're usually like together, right? Like this. And they're the shape of little turds. So I call them hamburger turds. That's what my diet for 2 weeks straight has been nothing but those. And those are good. Uh, they're the hamburger version of chicken tenders. I can dip those in steak sauce or sometimes balsamic vinegar. But I try not to eat too many things that are not meat. So I just eat those like popcorn, basically. Let's see. AFC says, "Who's Mr. Whitaker? Is that the elderly neighbor on Family Guy with the walker?" No. No, Whitaker is a famous napper. I wish I could remember his first name. Uh, he also writes articles. I got a subscription to Academia. John Whitaker, and I think John Whitaker is what you're talking about. Oh, who are you talking about? He has a lot of articles on Academia, and he does a lot of work with atlatl darts, or he did. That's He's one of the first that did an actual atlatl dart what does it call, experiment on penetration into a deer, or they were using a hog. I can't remember. This was a while ago, but he does some good experimental archaeology work. Let me see here. Where am I? I'm missing a lot of the chat. Administrator says, get yourself a kitty litter scoop for digging out material after the heat treat. Yeah, you can do that, but you don't need to put a buffer in there with the heat treat. You can put sand in a tray and then put the rocks in there and cover them all up. But I never really found any significant difference between heating it with a buffer like sand or kitty litter in with the rocks, or just heating the rocks by themselves. And when the guys with the kilns, the fancy kilns, and the fancy guys that do all this kind of stuff with cutting slabs and doing lots of heat treat, I mean, thousands of pounds a week, they don't use buffer material in the kilns. They just put the rock in there, nicely packed in there with air gaps all around, and they just heat it that way. So I said, hey, the guys that are professional doing this with hundreds and thousands of pounds a week, they should know. That's their business. So I just heat the rocks by themselves. Gary says, oh, let's see, there will be one rock seller. There'll be one rock seller tomorrow at Letchworth. The Letchworth, is it this weekend? Dang it. I'm never going to make one of these in the springtime. Yeah, that's New York. Took my glasses off. May 10th is the spring Letchworth. Yeah, in the conference center in New York. I am going to miss that one. Dang it. I can't go nowheres right now. Let's see. It's Letchworth State Park, 1 Letchworth State Park Drive, I guess. Castile, New York. These are the contact numbers. I got 2 of them there. The spring is May 10th, 2025. And there's one in the fall and there's one in the summer. The summer one is August 22nd, and the fall one is November 8th. I can probably make the one in August. Yeah. Now it's going to be super hot, comparatively speaking. I grew up in New Hampshire, and then I moved to Texas. I was in New Hampshire till I was like 21 years old, and then we moved to Texas. And I had never been in a land of perpetual summer. And it was so odd because one year just felt like the next year, just felt like the next year. There's no distinct change in seasons. It feels like it's continual summer, or everything's just blurred into one year. So my whole experience in Texas feels like just one big block of heat. And then now that I'm living back up here in Vermont, as of a year ago, or a little bit more than a year ago, I'm living here permanently. I got experience with seasons again. It feels so good. All right. I got distracted. But I got distracted because in August here, it is hot. And it's not temperature hot. It's hot. Heat plus humidity makes it feel even worse than if it was just dry heat, like they say. It's cliche, but it's true. Yeah. Okay, so Letchworth is the 10th. Yeah, that's tomorrow. Let's see. Administrator says if a piece did explode, you can get the shards out without cutting yourself. Oh, I see. If you have a buffer material in there, if the stones break up during heat treatment. Gary, I hope there's a lot more in August. Yeah, me too. Jim Fackler is here. After years of napping, I'm finally, due to age, starting to work with indirect. Yeah, I see that emoji. Yep. Scott Lauer says, AFC, that's Herbert. What? Let's see. Jay says he's missing the Arizona rock. Who's Arizona rock? The one that I was using, or you've got some Arizona rock? If you need me to nap the Arizona rock, I will nap it. Bill Taylor says indirect made all the difference with me as well. Thank you, Patrick. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's see. Bushy says, Jay, I'll be in Mystic mid June, staying in PT Judith or Narragansett. Point Judith or Narragansett? Let's see. Jesse says, Jay, if I head up again soon, I will spall out some Arizona rock. It's brittle but reminds me of dacite, not obsidian. So Jesse's been sharing the rocks. Ask for Corn or AFC says, I have a theory as to why it's faster to learn with indirect. I think it's because so much of the accuracy factor is locked in by the time you start to strike. Yep, that is one reason. Yes, yes. It's also intuitive with the hammer on something. Humans have an intuitive hammering instinct. Yeah. So that you can pick it up easily because of that instinct that you have, the hammering instinct. But yeah, the accuracy adds to the speed at which you can learn all the little subtleties and adjust for the subtleties and think about the subtleties in adjusting for the angle rather than having to learn the accuracy on top of that. Let's see. AFC says helpful with accuracy in the way a tow missile is compared to an RPG or the like. Yeah, the tow missile is a wire guided and you can guide it in. It does this, but a RPG just goes like a firework almost. All right, let's see. Okay, stage 3 to cancer free, said Ed Minister. Yeah, it must have been a rough road there. Jesse says, I had better luck direct with copper paddles. It's narrow, so if you miss, it doesn't miss as bad as a round copper billet. I see. Mike Mason's here. Hello, hello. Let's see. I'm going to skip over regular comments and see if there's questions. That way I can keep up with the chat without having to strain my eyes too much. I need to get a little closer to see some of this stuff. See, it's hard for me to tell an I from a L because I can't. That little dot gets all blurred and it looks like an L. Mike Mason says, I tried to make a marble today. Mission failure. No, it's not amber turds. It's hamburger turds. Hamburger shaped like little, you know what's. And it's just because I plopped the ground beef in the frying pan with the fat that I fry it in. I do that with one hand because I'm not want to sit there and make perfect meatballs and stick them in there like I used to. Yeah. I'm not going to read some of these comments. Charles Rooker's here. Did I recognize your entrance before? The big one's in August, says Gary. The one in Letchworth, New York. The big one's in August. Okay, that's good to know. Saskatchewan Adventures is here. I'm a newbie to heat treatment, and my first batch with new turkey roaster worked great with no sand. There you go. Awesome. Pat, Spring Letchworth is a small one. Not much going on then in Castile, New York. I see. Is it Castile or Castile? I don't know. Someone correct me. Let's see. Bushy says, Gary, bring your bathing suit in August. Going to be 95. Yeah, that's what I'm not looking forward to. Danny is in the house, and Doghouse is in the house. Hey, hey. Gary says, I live 30 minutes away from the park. So Gary lives near Letchworth. That's too fortunate. You're lucky. Very fortunate. Let's see. Ask for Corn says, your particular part of Texas is rough too. It's like the state's perineum. What's that mean? Yeah, where I used to live in Texas, where I ended up, I've lived all over the state of Texas during my 30 some odd years when I was there. But I ended up in the west part of Texas in a place where there's no rocks either. But I just needed to travel an hour to an hour and a half away, and I could find some rocks for free. I think the closest place was like an hour and 15 minutes away from me, where I can actually find rocks for free to nap. And they're just on the side of the road on dirt roads out there. Um, and yeah, people pick them up. So you can't go there and expect to find rocks every time because you can go 1 month and then say, hey, this is great. I got 2 5-gallon buckets just from scouting out them dirt roads. And then you go back to the same spot a year later and there's nothing because someone's already been there. So you got to travel somewhere else and pick up rocks somewhere else. So luckily, there's still areas where you can find rocks like that. But they keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller because the guys that make large blades have multiplied. Everyone wants to make large blades, so they're taking all the large rocks and they're starting to dig them out now. They're starting to dig for them. So you'll see places where they're digging. Uh, let's see. Charles Rooker says the fall nap in is generally bigger, but the spring event is still quite respectable. We're talking about Letchworth. Sam Folks, good to hear y'all. Learning each day. Thanks. Thank you. Jim Cooper, hey, Patrick. Hey, hey. Jay says, where am I? Where am I? Okay. Let's see. Gary, getting more Onondaga anytime soon? Tommy says, hey, one of my many mics has shown up. Yeah. There are several mics in the chat usually. Gary says, maybe BP is getting back to normal almost. I guess BP stands for blood pressure. Let's see. Bushy says, I cut down one sprout by my driveway yesterday, and I had 2 ticks on me. You must have lots of deer or something on your property to have so many ticks. Yeah. Jim Cooper says, hey, Patrick, I have an unusual video request. Okay. Could you do a video on the exercises you do to counteract the impingements? I'm finding myself starting to develop them. I think I could use the info. I can do it right now. Hold on. I'll show you what I do. Okay. I use a relatively heavy weight, 20 pounds. And what I do, the best exercise is I shove this in front of me and then I just keep holding it until I can't hold it anymore. Or I just shove it out in front of me and then drop it down. That's the opposite of the movement that you have for pressure flaking. And I'm pushing this out and then it's coming down. Okay. I also do this thing where I strengthen my muscles in the back. Those are the 2 exercises that I do, right? I'm down here like this, and then I lift like this. I can't do it because the table's in the way. But those are the 2 exercises that I do. Okay? So straight out and then hold it and it drops it down. But I use a heavy weight, so it'll actually affect the muscles. Okay? Heavy being 20 pounds, which is probably not that heavy. Just do it with a weight that you can't hold out straight like this. If you're able to hold it steady and straight, it's not enough weight. You gotta be able to. I mean, it has to drop down on you, so that that action of resisting the drop is what strengthens those muscles more than just kind of going back and forth. Okay? I hope that helps. Bushy says, Gary, the best way to get your BP down is to price your antlers at $1 each. And Doghouse or Danny says, where the hell is New York? You're way down in Texas, like Bastrop, right? So, yeah, New York is a foreign country to you guys down there. Let's see. Alan Cole says, I don't think heat treat will help with snapping halfish, but I'll refer to Patrick. Yeah, heat treat does not help the snapping halfish. You're going to get more snapping halfish stuff. Yep. But it changes the whole ball game when it comes to being able to have an effect on the stone. You're actually going to be able to chip what you can reasonably expect to chip from the stone. Brennan says, I don't use any medium in my roaster either. So far, I have been able to get and hold 525 degrees with no worries. That's awesome. Rockin' Pops Adventures is here, checking in, Sir Patrick. Hello, hello. I like your Razorback in the background. Are you someday becoming an Arkansas Razorback, maybe? I don't know. He's talking about my piglet. I don't know. My daughter's already an Arkansas Razorback. That's why I'm assuming he's making that reference. My second oldest daughter got married and moved to Arkansas. Yeah. So I'll be going there. I was supposed to go there last month when my grandson was born, but couldn't make it. I spent all my money on my other daughter, so I didn't have any money for the trip. Besides, she had a rough birth and a long recovery period. Still recovering even a month, or let's see, 15th, 16th. He was born on the 16th, so she's still recovering from that. She was not in a good mood. Let's see. Alan says, are you running low on hand-rolled tobacco? I know a guy. Actually, I'm not running low on the hand-rolled tobacco. No. Which reminds me, I've been smoking some of the silky dogwood bark instead of tobacco to so I can not be so. I don't know. I'm missing the tobacco. I don't want to smoke it all the time, so I use something else. Silky dogwood bark, and I can smoke that in the house, and it doesn't stink out the place. It just smells like I just lit a little fireplace fire or something. Yeah. And I've done a video where I experiment with Smokables. Mm-hmm. Silky dogwood bark is one of those that is relatively mild. Yeah. What messed me up one time is when I smoked some mugwort leaves. Right? I think so. Yeah. No. Let me think. No, it wasn't mugwort leaves. It was something else. Goldenrod. I made the mistake of smoking goldenrod leaves, and I think those are good for tea. So I said, "Nah, it's not going to be toxic." That stuff messed me up. My tongue got numb, my throat got sore, and I started feeling woozy and sick. And no, not good. I'll stick with the silky dogwood bark. Besides, I'm making a ton of arrows out of silky dogwood this year. Yes, and I'll be doing some shooting with silky dogwood arrows. All right. So, but I'll let you know, Alan, if I run low on the tobacco leaves. I've got tobacco seeds too that I'm going to be planting. I should have planted them last week because the growing season already started. Or I should have planted them 2 weeks ago. Let's see. You guys are chatting with each other, which is fine. Let me see where I'm at here. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Mike Mason says, I mean, I expect improvements on the whole doing a heat treat. And I know without specifically knowing the stone, it's hard to say. I'm just asking for the generally speaking answer. Okay. All right. Hope you got an answer to that. I'm not sure where we are with that. AJ Williams is here. Visited the Million Souls mine last week. Great visit with Dan Yoder. I bought some 130 pounds of raw and cooked materials. Very interesting visit. Yeah, see, last time I was doing live stream, I was mentioning that if you don't bring money with you to these things, you're going to be sorry. Yep. Kiowa's here. Hey, Patrick. Hello. Would you ever consider making guitar picks out of some flakes? I would love to buy one. Well, heck, let me write that down. Because I think you mentioned that before and I didn't write it down. So let me see. I got to make sure I write it down so I can read it. Yeah. Make guitar picks out of stone flakes, for Kiowa. Now, you've sent me emails before, right? Because I can just make 3 or 4 of them out of different materials and see which one works for you. Yeah. I've got a guitar pick somewhere I can use as a pattern. It'll be ground down around the edges. Very, very ground down. But yeah, I can make guitar picks out of flakes. Not a problem at all. Let's see. Mike Mason says it's mostly pale cherry with some gray and some crystal inclusions that look silvery. Talking about some kind of stone here. I missed the chat. I missed that part of the chat. Bushy says, don't look for rocks in New York. There are none. Just beer cans along the roads. I heard that there are spots where you can find Onondaga by the roadside, but it's all freeze cracked and all ruined. Let's see. Yeah, glass bottles are actually pretty good. If you can find a dump where there's a lot of big bottle bottoms from various bottles, especially those big Clorox bottles, those are great for napping. Jay says he misses that glossy black Esopus shirt. Yeah. It's I agree. The glossy black Esopus shirt is nice stuff. It gives you good results. Let's see here. I'm trying to read through the chat, and I'm going to answer questions mainly, so I don't fall behind on the chat. I'm going to try to answer questions only, and I'll read some of these comments that can pertain to everybody. Let's see. Ellen says, Mason, I just know that rock can become more snap and halfish after heat treat, usually a result of overheat. Oh, yes, that is true. Jesse says, we are going to make an exclusive vid napping to the oldies, LMAO. I don't understand what that means exactly, but it's okay. Let's see. Somebody's getting a bucket of rocks from somewhere. Mike Mason says, I used to live in Bastrop. I was long gone before the big fire. Oh, yeah, the fire that came through there. You can still see the remnants of that big fire back in the day. I used to do National Guard drills near Bastrop for a short while. Gary says, Fro he has sent me pics of the Onondaga he has found. He found an ancient quarry. Yeah, Frodo Joe sent Gary some pictures of the quarry. Let's see. R. Snyder's here. Hello, Patrick, and the snapping chips. Yep, yep. You made it just in time. Let's see. How much time do I got? It's only 8:34. We have almost an hour and a half left. Dang. What part of Arkansas did she move to? Says Kiowa, or asked Kiowa. I used to live near Jonesboro. She moved to Fort Smith, Arkansas, and luckily they've been dodging all the tornadoes and everything and the hail that's been coming through. It's usually just hitting around them and not actually in the area where Fort Smith is. Bushy or Fertile Joe says, Gary, I can't find Onondaga there. I looked. I heard there is some. I find Esopus at the quarry. Okay, good to know. I keep telling Bushy I'm going to go visit him. I will go visit you soon. I've got this one project that's taking up all my extra time, and I'm going to be hoping to finish it up soon. But it's one of those things that is even more unpredictable than Flintnapping. Yeah, I have to make reliable, unbreakable short bows with reliable, unbreakable natural strings. Okay, it's hard because I'm used to the kind of archery equipment that uh, requires a lot of maintenance. I got to be honest with you. The natural strings and short bows require a lot of maintenance and a lot of care. You can't overdraw them as far as the draw length of the bows. You can't mess with them too much because they're so small, right? Um, and they don't shoot all that well unless you make sure that the humidity is just right and all that kind of stuff. So, but trying to make those so that they can be exposed to rain and cold and direct sunlight and within a car that's like 165 to 185 degrees with the windows rolled up, it's hard to deal with that sort of thing. So I'm trying to figure out what wood works best for all that. And when I figure it all out, I will tell you what I did. Let's see. Let's see. Ed says, "Is the silky dogwood like sticky skunkweed?" No, it's not. It's actually good. It's good stuff. hmm Let me see here. Yeah, I'm behind on the chat. Way behind. Gary says he's smoking hippie lettuce. It's about to get wild in here. No, I was not smoking hippie lettuce. Jim Cooper says, as soon as I can find a new source, I'll dry out some Kinnikinnick and get your package sent out. It's ready to go otherwise. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I need to I need to try the real stuff here. Yeah, light them if you have them. So I missed that part of the chat earlier. Okay. Let me see. Where am I here? One of the hardest things to do on these live streams is to keep track of the chat because the YouTube doesn't tell you that it's running away from you. It stops the feed if you back up. The feed stops. So if a lot of people start commenting, the chat doesn't move. It stays there. So I'm thinking, man, there's nobody chatting, so I'll just take my time and talk about other things. And then I look and I say, I've missed like 10 minutes of chat. Okay. And among other things, it's the chat is very difficult to keep up with. Let me see. Yeah, you can join me in indulging in a pipe if you want to. Let's see. Ralph says, Scott, beautiful job on your recent videos. That single long barb point is killer awesome. I gotta look at that. I haven't seen Scott's latest videos. Goldenrod gave me a year-long sore throat. Yeah, there's something in goldenrod that I'm allergic to, and apparently you're allergic to it too. Yeah, it messed me up pretty good, and I said, you know what? This experimenting with smokables is not going right. Don't smoke the wrong bark, says Rockin' Pop's Adventures. Yeah, don't. Yeah, I never mess with anything that people that have said that it's kind of risky, like willow bark. I have not tried it, and I will not try willow bark. AJ Williams says my bees love fall goldenrod in the fall. Makes great different tasting honey. Yeah, I mean there's tons of goldenrod out here, and I could make tea forever, but never again. I'm not going to try that again. Let's see. I don't drink tea anymore anyway. Mike says, "Dang Ed, I will smoke them in a while. Got to start the first hour straight, then I can get weird." Okay, so Alan Cole says, "Put me down for era for guitar pick." Okay, so here we go. So we have Kiowa, and then we have Alan Cole also. Okay, for guitar picks made of stone, made from flakes. All right, awesome. I'll do that. Um, let's see. Danny says, "I can make you a guitar slide of flint. Pick your rock." Yeah, guitar slides that All right, never mind. People who play guitar know these things. I'm not going to say anything because I don't know anything about playing guitars. Gary says, I've seen picks made out of green jade. That's interesting. Let's see. Mike says, oh, you didn't miss the stone description, but I fat thumbed cherry somehow, or chert is hated by autocorrect. Okay, so instead of typing in chert, it corrected it to cherry. I see. Um, mhm. Who's talking about this? Richard Simmons stuff. Kyle Ledbetter's here. Stone and guitar could be a bad mix. I hate being a pessimist, but just saying. Both are very nice outlets for stress relief, but not everyone or everything. But not everything should be combined. They have made they have jade picks for mandolin. I see. Let's see. Alan Cole asks, what does a storm cloud wear under his raincoat? Thunderwear. Kiowa says, in Doghouse, is that the finger slide tubes or the original flat bar slides for lap steel? I play lap steel and I bet a tourmaline flat slide bar would sound really warm. Hmm. Kyle says, I would have inherited land, but my mom ran from home when she was pregnant with me. The land my granddad uh, hadn't emeralds growing right out of the woodland floor. That would be interesting. Let's see. What is the length of one of those short bows? I usually make them around 48 inches if I make them for myself. But short bows, in my view and under my definition, are 56 inches long and shorter. The shortest bow I've ever made was like 38 inches for myself. I think maybe it was a little bit over 36 inches. I can't remember how much it was. Anything under 36 inches is just too short, really, for me. Although it can be done, it has to be sinew backed or very wide or with a very springy material or any combination of all of the above. And I don't make that kind of bow. Nothing under 36. So mine, I'm working on two right now that are 48, and I'm going to be working on another one that's like 52 or something. I'm trying to work on three at the same time. Let's see. Ralph says, Sean from Sean's Amateur Archaeologist YouTube channel. I found 2 pieces of Lavana point ready to Gorilla Glue it back together. I see. Keith says, wow, I'm late. Yes, you are. Danny says, I see lots of remnants of the Bastrop fire. I lost everything except my wife and dogs. I'm happy and good with that. Lots of camping afterwards. Yeah, if you lost everything, you'll have to camp for sure. That's rough. Kyle says, he was Native American and Irish, and he always told me to embrace spiritualism and don't lose it in religion, and the government is for themselves as well. So live good, live hard, and stay alive. Yeah, cool. Very, very cool advice. Danny says, Kiowa, I mean tube slides, but I have to know your finger size and ring size. So Danny can make you the tube slides. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Where am I? Ed Gould says I'm face snapping some red beers this evening. You don't face snap drinkables. You face snap eatables. We got to think of some other uh, terminology for drinkables. Let's see. Jesse says, Pat, thanks for posting the merch link on your channel. I got a shirt. Yeah, I saw you bought a shirt. Yeah, I'm trying to post merch on my channel, and the first series of items has shown up on my channel. They don't show up for a while. If I do every time I do an update, now I'm doing updates on my Teespring store. And every time you do an update, it takes 2 or 3 days for it to show up on the YouTube channel. And so far, so good. I spent the last 2 days working, 3 days, the last 3 days working on how to design t shirts. And the only thing I need now is to spend time drawing out some designs because I've already got the software that can convert the design into a vector image. I just need to take a picture of the design and then upload the picture to the computer, and then the software can change it into a vector design, and then I can upload that vector design to the t-shirt website, and we'll see how that works. Although it says I can just upload a photograph as long as it's got good resolution, 900 by 900 pixels, but it can't be more than, what did they say, 600 megabytes. So there's a small window of requirements for these photographs. So I was not able to get anything uploaded as far as photographs go because I don't know how to check for the darn pixels. I suppose there's a button for that on the Adobe software that I've got, but who knows? It takes me forever to figure these things out. Seems like it anyway. Let's see. Okay, we're talking about guitar picks and guitar stuff. Kyle says the dust from a traditional plastic pick messes with the pickups. I'm not maintaining them properly. Interesting. All right. Let me see. We got 42 watching. And we've only got 30 likes. What's up, man? Let's see. Can you make me a set of drumsticks? Who are you asking? Ask for Corn says, like a Strat with bold indirect punch flakes all the way across the top face. We should do it. I bet they'd sell. So you want to put some flakes on the guitar? Let me see. As decoration? Anyway, let's see. Tommy Taylor says Keith is on the house and Keith is in the house. Yeah, and Ed beat you here. This time Ed Gould came in before Keith. Let's see. Ralph Snyder says, "Where can folks get some Patrick merchandise?" It's on my channel now. It's on my store. I have a store with Teespring. Check it out. Kyle says, "Arkansas would have been my homeland." Oh dang. There's some good stone in Arkansas. A lot of it has to be heat treated though. Let's see. Let's see what you got here. Still talking about guitar stuff. Mike Mason says, "Funny thing about the Bastrop fire, my house burnt down well before the town did. That's where I saved my mom by pulling her out of a window smaller than her backside." Dang, that does not sound like any fun at all. Keith says, "Let's hit the like button, guys. The hounds are hungry tonight." Yeah. Kyle says, "Napping and culture hit me a bit late, but it's good time. It's a good time, no less." Oh yes. Mike says, "I'm like 29. Thanks for the reminder, Keith." Face drinking for liquids. Yeah, face drinking. There you go. Jesse says, "Jay has some nice Flintnapping shirts too with lithic pics." Yeah, I got to upload some lithic pics. Let's see. Kyle says, "Use your own pictures of actual pieces you've produced. Sounds like you're actually doing that. So Godspeed and best of the luck." Thank you, thank you. We'll see what happens. I have to figure out if the software I have can give me the pixel count and all that as a file identifier. Probably not, but I need some easy way to figure out how many pixels these photographs have without having to open up each photograph and looking at the properties and stuff. But it might be just a far-fetched wish. Tommy Taylor says, "Yeah, Keith, my son came up and helped me with some goat fencing, and he fussed the whole time." Let's see. Jim Cooper says, "Gotta go, Patrick. Catch you later." All right, Jim. We'll see you later. See you next time. If you might get lucky and come back before the live stream ends. Kyle says, "Make a guitar with flakes and points in epoxy." Yeah, no, there's an idea. I don't even know if it can be done. Ed Gould says, "Sometimes I get here, but just watch and don't say a damn thing." Scott Lauer says, "How many tickles does it take to get an octopus to laugh?" Tentacles. Ralph says, "I wonder what Alan is face snapping." Yeah, he always tells us. AFC says, "Not to put flakes on it, maybe start by routering out a Strat body template." Kyle says, "Arkansas has some old world spiritual energy for sure." Yeah. AFC says, let's see, one good piece of stone pickup and volume potholes and all. I don't know what that is. Danny says, "To check file size for pics, right click on the photo and click the properties. More than likely, your pics aren't anywhere near 600 megabytes. 5 to 10 megabytes max. Convert to SVG and send it." Yeah, but if I don't know the pixel count, it's going to kick the photograph out because I've already tried it once or twice before. It'll kick the photograph out of the upload because it says the resolution is not good enough. Yeah. So I need to know the resolution in pixels. And sometimes it'll give me that in the details if I right click or left click or whatever it is. I think it's right click. It'll give me the properties in the details. Now it'll say something like 800 by 1200, but I don't know if that's the pixels, right? And most of my photos that I take with my phone, I have them on the maximum resolution, and it's much higher than 600 megabytes. But then when I reduce in size or I condense it or somehow change the resolution, it kicks it out of the upload. It's just too reduced in the resolution. So it goes from too big to too small, basically. I can't get the sweet spot in between easily. Let's see here. Whose work and process is astonishing, Kyle? Who are you talking to? Let's see. Alan says he's eating chuck eye. It's long gone, Ralph. It finished about 45 minutes ago. AFC says, then send flakes across front and back faces of the guitar with a big punch. Kiowa says, to find the pixel dimensions of an image file, you can typically right-click the file and select properties or get info, then check the details or more. Yeah, I'm going to try that. See, I just don't know if the pixel size is it gives you like what looks like a dimension like 800 by 1200 or, 340 by 120. I mean, is that the number of pixels? I don't know. I used to know this stuff, but I can't remember anymore. And, if I reduce it to 900 by 900, many times it's reduced too much in as far as file size. See, because some of the stuff that I've got, well, I need to check it again. Like I said, I've got very high resolution photos that I would like to put on t-shirts, but they don't fit. Let's see. AFC says Dave Grohl already has that epoxy modular guitar, been using forever. Let's see. Ed says maybe that's why I like cornflakes. Mike Mason says Bastrop is also where I started my journey as a napper. That's a good place to start because there's a lot of dirt and flint near Bastrop. Let's see. Red Eyed Patriot is in the house. Another Michael. Granddaughter is here for the weekend. No napping for me. I see. Hey, everybody, says Jordan Kirkpatrick. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Ralph says, I just hit the like button. Don't want the hounds chasing me. Keith's blue tick and red bone hounds are too fast. Keep on tweaking, says Kyle. Mike says, walking the dogs, then retrieving the burnables. I'll be listening. Retrieving the burnables? What is that? Ralph says, chuck eye steaks are great. Oh, yeah. Kyle says, your work, and I guess any who does what others don't attempt in the realms of making and crafting or keeping traditions such as this alive. I see. So you are talking about my work. Thank you. Thank you. Tommy says, Keith, my son fusses at me when I do things with my heart condition, but will fuss the whole time. I told him I just needed him for the heavy stuff, then he could leave, but he stayed. Mike Mason says, yeah, years worth of playing dues in the yard where I lived in Cherry. I don't get it. See, I think you're typing in Cherry when it says, should say chert, but then I still don't get it. Alan asks, what has ears but cannot hear? A cornfield. What else is here? Yeah, Red Eye Patriot is in the house. He's usually good for several comments. YouTube likes when you comment. Yeah. Danny says, to find pixel size, when you resize it, it will give you options to resize by pixels, percent, or resolution. It will tell you what pixel size it is now and then adjust it. All right. I think, yeah, I'm going to try that. Let me see. I might be able to try this in real time on my phone to see if it'll actually give me the properties. If I know the properties, that's the first step. All right. So it says This screenshot is 774 kilobytes, 1080 by 2340, 3 MP. So what is that? 3 megapixels? Just a simple screenshot. Okay. Um, so that's all it has on that for my default properties on my phone from my gallery. Okay. It doesn't tell me that much. Let me look at this photo. All right. So it has 3 megabytes. See this photo here from one of the auctions. Let me see. Let me adjust the lighting. Okay. Where is the lighting? Display. Come on. It's already on low light brightness anyway, but dang it. See, just a simple screenshot from one of my auctions. This sucker, if I swipe up, it gives me the properties, right? 3 megabytes, 3.01 megabytes, right? Yeah, 3000 by 4000, whatever that means. 12 MP, ISO 32, 23 millimeter, f1.8, 0.0 EV, 1/120S. So where is the pixels? I don't know any of it. Where's the pixels on that? Is it the 3000 by 4000? Is that the pixels? I don't know. I mean, on my computer, it might display it a little bit differently, but I'm taking all the pictures with my phone. I don't take my computer around and take pictures with the computer. And someone might say, just get a DSLR camera, dude. DSLR camera, and then hook it up to your computer. Simple. And the DSLR probably has the menus and everything on it. And you can adjust it right on the camera instead of using the stupid camera phone. Yeah, I know. I could probably do it that way, but I don't want to spend $300. Yeah. Not when I can buy a bunch of rocks for $300 and then make all my money back plus another $300. At least. Let's see. Gary says, check the auction. There's no auction tonight. Let's see. Talking about watermelons. What's the difference between a black diamond and a Carolina striped? Is that a riddle? Let's see. Sugar baby watermelons are Kiowa's favorite. Yeah, I used to be big into watermelons and oranges and all those very sweet fruits and stuff. I don't eat any of that anymore. Nope. I go visit family and they go, "Why aren't you eating that, Dad?" Or "Why aren't you eating that, Uncle Patrick?" I don't eat that no more. But why? It's got so many vitamins. I get vitamins from other stuff. Yeah, but it's not tasty. You eat these little hamburger turds. It's not even tasty. Yeah. Oh well. I'd rather feel better than have tasty. Kyle says I wore a knee brace for many years, giving me the advantage of a perma Kelly strap, and I always look for the new angle to get her done. That's an idea. AFC says we can't talk watermelons and not talk fried chicken. Yeah, and all the other food, all that other country food. Yeah, honey flavored cornbread and stuff like that. Yeah. Let's see. Kyle says I eat protein or not at all. My teeth suck and I'm an alcoholic. Oh, dang. Ralph says sugar baby watermelons are good too. Yeah. Danny says resize it to 25% and check the size again. Keep doing that until it's the right size. Maybe even have to go down to 10%. Yeah, that is true. I can keep doing that. There's one shortcut that I found that if I process it through my video editor, if I take a shot of a still during a video, like if I video something instead of taking a photograph of it, like a 10-second video, and then I use my video editor to take a snapshot of one of the frames, that seems to be small enough to upload. So I've got to try that, but it's just extra steps. But yeah, I think I can do it that way. And there's another way I can make the photographs smaller without having to step it down so much. I just want one process to get it to where it'll fit. And the video editor seems to be pretty good at resizing the photographs without losing too much resolution. Because I do that for thumbnails. I have a thumbnail maker, and I also make thumbnails with my video editor. Not that I'm any good at making thumbnails, but it's fast. I can make a thumbnail within 10 seconds. That's the kind of fast I like. Now, with my thumbnail maker, it takes me about a minute or two, but 2 minutes, and I'm like, why does it take more than a minute? Why is it taking more than a minute? It don't show. It's a technology. It's 2025. The Space Odyssey is already past. The 2001 Space Odyssey, so everything's all advanced. Why 2 minutes? Yeah. I just got the ADHD. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I'm going to blame it on that. If it's not the autism, I'm going to blame it on the ADHD. Alan Cole asks, what did the left eye say to the right eye? Between us, something smells. Kyle says, I use Flintnapping as a recovery, whether it's for me or to uncover the link between ancestry. Yeah, good idea. Gary says, what did the brown eye say? I'm afraid to read the answer to that one. Let's see. Red-Eyed Patriot says, I got a strike. I can't post for a week. You can't post stuff like videos for a week? Man. Kyle says, dude, you make a darn good clickbait. End of story. So my thumbnails are good clickbait? That's good to know. Danny says, change resolution on your phone settings so you don't have to do any of that in the first place. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. But then I'll forget I got a low resolution, and then when I need a high resolution photograph, I'll be thinking I'm taking a high resolution photograph, and I'll send it off or something, and hey, what's this low quality crap? What's this low quality crap? Yeah. Let's see. Kyle says, I live to see your work. Awesome. If you're talking to me, thank you. That's awesome. Let's see here. Ralph says, oh my God, fried chicken is my kryptonite. Straight up addicted to fried chicken. All right. Do you guys, how do you make your fried chicken? Do you fry it in lard or do you fry it in vegetable oil? That's what I want to know. I'm only using lard these days to fry anything. And I think it's actually a lot better tasting. So I fry all my chicken in lard too. Let's see. Mike says, I just smoked some koshered chicken tenders. Awesome. So Danny says, peanut oil, lard. So there's a mix of who uses what to fry their chicken in. Now, I haven't had peanut oil. I've had turkeys fried in peanut oil because I had years ago, I bought one of those big turkey fryers that you fill up with oil, and we filled it up with peanut oil, and dang, that was good. Yes. So I know it's good stuff. But I can't have peanut oil these days. So Kyle says, yeah, true, use lard. It's a good call on the lard, Pat. Yep, I think so. It tastes pretty good. And it doesn't make me feel sick. Kyle says, people with beards are just people without beards with beards. That's my kind of humor right there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lard's the only way to go, says Keith. I'm glad you think so. I like tallow. Tallow tastes kind of funny sometimes. But yeah, tallow works. See, tallow can be, beef tallow can be as cheap as uh, pork or pig lard if you can get it on sale. I use lard because it's cheap, but I probably shouldn't because it probably contains lots of nasty stuff that they feed to the pigs, chemicals and stuff that they don't tell you about. Ralph says lard, just like my mom uses. Yeah, so fried chicken and lard. That makes me hungry. I want to have some. What do you call a guy who's really loud? Mike. And we have several mics in here. Crisco, says Ed Gould. You use Crisco? Uh, one of the survival techniques that people are teaching these days is you can use Crisco as fuel for heating lamps. You can make Crisco candles, in other words, and you put something over the top of the candle that radiates heat, like a clay pot or something, or a steel pot that heats up and radiates heat. And you can heat a small room with Crisco candles. Yeah. And that the Crisco has a little flame on the label for the dot on the eye. It's a little flame, and it's because Crisco was originally a fuel. Yeah. So don't fry your stuff in fuel is the moral of the story. Non-processed is always the right way to go, says Kyle. Oh yes. Kiowa says, when I was a butcher, I would take home all the fat caps, so I always had free tallow. Awesome. That's the way to go. And around here, they'll sell you, or they'll sell me leftover fat for cheap. Yeah. I just haven't asked them yet. I get plenty of fat from frying the hamburger meat. Yeah. I use the gallon jug because if I don't drink enough water. If I just have a little cup, I'll just sip it and that's it. I'll get like 1/10 of the water I need. Mike Mason says, "Hey, you guys, I think he's been sampling what he was postponing." Kyle says, "Baking grease candles or lamps, even. Yeah, but they're kind of smoky. I've tried animal fat lamps, and they're very sooty and smoky. Yeah, wow. Crisco is like Sterno. Yeah, it is. Let's see. Kyle says, give me fuel so I can build a fire. Yeah. Believe me, Crisco works as a fuel. Yeah. Um, Ask for Corn says, I bet you whale oil would taste delicious. It's fuel. Oh, yeah. I think it tastes pretty good, too. I mean, I don't know, but I would think yes. What are you guys talking about now? Kyle says, you're always measuring and gauging. Not a bad idea. Let's see. Mike Mason, stereo. I make calcium acetate. Apparently, you can take the liquid solution, add isopropyl alcohol, and it's the stereo gel, basically. What does that mean? Ed Gould says, what's up, Mikey? Ralph says, what is earth juice? I don't know. Mike says, bless you, Pat. Why? Did I make a mistake? Or did I sneeze by accident? I hadn't sneezed yet. It's all coughing. My cough sounds like sneezes sometimes. Is that what you're getting at? Earth juice is Earl. What does that mean? Kyle says whale blubber is fuel for a body. Oh yeah. Alan says, why do ducks have feathers on their tails? To cover their butt quacks. Ask for Corn says, call me Ishmael. Okay. These are going over my head. Kiowa says, earth juice is water. I'm just being cheeky. Okay. All right. I missed that too. These are all going over my head. Mike Mason says, stereo sterno. I hate autocorrect. Sterno. Okay, so you meant sterno instead of stereo. Check the autocorrect before you hit the send button on your comments. Yeah, sterno gel. I've used sterno before in Boy Scouts a lot. It's not. It doesn't smell that great. Keith says, Mike Mason, I make fuel gel the same way. Crush eggshells. What? Danny, oh no. Ask for Corn says, oh, I thought it was oil, not water. Oil equals Earl, says AFC. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. At one time, while I was living in my van in the winter, I was thinking of ideas how to go completely off grid because it usually just I run an extension cord to the house and use a space heater to heat the van in winter. But I was looking up ideas on how to heat the van with other natural, non-electric means, and Crisco came up. I'm going, what? Let's look that up because I saw a video on using Crisco candles to heat a room. You know, heat your bedroom so you don't freeze to death overnight if the power goes out. And sure enough, I learned all about Crisco as a fuel, and then there's a bunch of other stuff you can use as fuel. Uh, they just don't recommend using paraffin wax candles, but any type of natural oil can be used. Just some of them produce more soot than others. If you can deal with the soot and then the smoky atmosphere, you can use animal fats. Let's see. Alan says, why can't you ever tell a joke around glass? Because it would crack up. Let's see. Kyle says, wait. Back up here. I'm going to read some of this other chat. Let's see. Let's see. Mike Mason says, I'll try, but your eyes are better than mine. You see my mistakes, and I just see shapes and colors. Oh, okay. So it's hard for you to check the what the autocorrect does to your writing. Southern folks call it Earl. Yeah, not oil. Let's see. AFC says it's Earl if you live on the side that lost the war of northern aggression anyway. Mm-hmm. Yep. Kyle says, this is damn good. I live in a closed-minded, isolated town, and they don't get me either. Yeah. My neighbors would think I'm weird if they watched what I'm talking about, or if they listen in on the conversations. I suppose they could tune in to the channel, but nobody does. Yeah, we got 36 people watching right now, and they're all loyal watchers of the channel. I don't get my neighbors watching the channel at all. They'll watch one or two videos for like 5 or 6 seconds. Oh, okay. Switch. We'll switch to watching people fighting road rage. Yeah, let's watch road rage videos. Flintnapping is so dull. Let's see. Ellen says, okay, I read that joke already. Bushy says, cowboys look over the hill and say, engines. Ed Gould, that on-air sign kind of burns red spot. Kind of burns a red spot in your vision. Yeah, I could tone it down maybe. Let's see. No, I'll leave it. If I move the curtain, but I can't move the curtain because I've tacked that support right through the curtain into the wood of the part of the window. Yeah. Oh well, you're gonna have to live with it. Mm-hmm. See if I can adjust the lighting so it's not so bright over there on that side. Can I do it? Mm-hmm. What am I doing here? Dropping everything. Everything is all connected. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It looks weird. I can never get the lighting right anyway. I'm used to having the light in front of me. Let's see. Uh, let's see. I'm missing lots of the chat. Let's see. Danny says pork fat rules, but Wagyu fat may even be better if you can afford it. Duck fat is probably my favorite. I haven't deep fried in them, but I sure eat them all. Yeah, I actually have some duck fat. I should try that and see how it compares to the beef fat. Kiowa says I'm Southern and I say oil instead of oil, far instead of fire, and winder instead of window. Mike says first inhale. Now I'll be on air. Duck is nice, says Kyle. Yeah. Alan asks, why did the Scarecrow win a Nobel Prize or a Nobel Prize? Because she was outstanding in her field. Yeah, I heard that one before. That's an old one, Alan. Yeah, I can tell you got that one on the internet. Probably all the ones so far. Some of them are really good, though. Let me see. Mike says, Kyle, sometimes when I spell duck, that's not what I'm trying to spell. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Ralph says, Berta beef fat is good. Berta beef equals Alberta Canadian, uh, Alberta Canadian beef. I see. Gary says, we need some of your mama jokes. Okay, so someone bring up some mama jokes. I don't have any. Let's see. AFC says, yep, Kiowa, all familiar. You got to change what you're calling black people, though. You don't, you, you know what you're saying. Nah, just kidding. I don't know what that means. Mike says, Don, okay. His name is Gary, not Don Reed. Mike says, you leave my mom out of this, and I'll leave this out of your mom. Ralph says, outstanding in the field. Yes. We are all outstanding in fields eventually. If you're a flintnapper looking for rocks, you're often outstanding in the fields. Ed Gould says, my eyes are old and I've got Cadillacs. Cataracts or Cadillacs? Did the spell checker get you or is that correct? Because I know you've got Cadillacs too, I imagine. Kyle says, red-headed, fair-skinned with Indian from this continent and roots in the city of Damascus, I've come to learn we all have a story and a journey ahead. Yep, that is true. Alan says, what's brown and sticky? A stick. Mike says, Alan, one of my favorite jokes. A stick, yes. Jim Fackler says, what do you call an angry French aunt? A croissant. A croissant. Yeah. Let's see. AFC says, no, keep it in, my mom. We still need the money. I don't know what that means, but I think it sounds funny anyway. Okay. I have an idea what that means. I'm just going to pretend I didn't. Yeah. I'm going to have an autism moment with these jokes anytime now. I'm going to read them the wrong way or something. And I'll be thinking about that forever. I remember that time I misinterpreted that joke and it was so embarrassing. Yeah, I remember that too. When does a joke become a dad joke? Asks Alan. When the punchline is apparent. Is apparent. Ralph says, the journey of 100 miles begins with the first step. Oh, yeah. Mike says, Gary, you leave my mom out of this. Oh, duck it. Mm-hmm. So now we have more likes than people watching. So that's good. That's what we usually get around this time. After about an hour and a half, we usually have more likes than people watching because people come in and out of the chat. They're watching to see if I'm actually napping or something. I don't nap on Friday nights. I might show like casts of artifacts, but there's no napping. See, I'll be trying to imitate these two casts. These are made of plastic of Eden points from I forget what site. What is the site? There's a name to it, and I gotten several requests. The Finley bison kill site. Finley, Finley. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I've got 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 casts from the Finley site, and they're not all the same. And we even got a small little Eden point, and they're all similar as far as basal width. Let me show you on my forehead since that's a big pale area. Yeah, see how similar the basal width is on these from the Finley site? Well, it's just kind of small. But let's go back to the other ones. See, these are 2 different varieties of Edens, and the bases are the same almost as far as width goes. They're extremely consistent in width. So that tells me that that's the width of the foreshaft, because that's the only time you get consistent widths is with foreshafts because you make them ahead of time. Yeah, you didn't know that? You stash your foreshafts. We can't find stashes of at Lettle Dart foreshafts from back in the day because they rot away too soon. But we've found foreshafts for arrows in dry caves in the Southwest, and they mass produce them. And at least they did in the Southwest. I'm assuming that they did that everywhere because it's efficient. Okay. Let's see. Ed Gould says, okay, see you on Monday. Yep, next live stream is on Monday, and the auction's on Monday. In case you didn't know. I think we're going to have another phlegm moment. Let's see. Alan says, why are basketball courts always wet? Because the players dribble. AFC says, money has been tight. They cut our hours at the strip club after the amputation. Okay. You shouldn't talk about your mom like that. I'm not even kidding because they were talking about their mom. In case you just tuned in. All right. So yeah, now you can call off the hounds. Once we have more likes than people watching, you can call off the hounds. Let's see. Kaiwa says, you never actually wash your hands. You only watch them wash each other. Oh, I see. There you go. That's a philosophical take on hand washing. Yeah. Danny says, going fishing early morning, so gotta go. Y'all have a great night. Good night, Patrick. PM me if you need help with this SVG translation. I'm learning CNC, so I have a little experience. Okay, Danny. I will definitely do that. Yeah. Let's see. How do I phrase this so I can understand what I'm talking about? Email Danny about photo resolution and pixel size. And pixel. I'll just say and pixels. Yeah. Let's see. Ed's leaving. Yes, he's. Let's see. Ed says the shipment came fast to Denver. Now it's lost. Yeah, you should get it soon. When I sent everything out on Tuesday. When I send the auction items out on Tuesday, they usually start arriving by Friday. Some have even arrived by Thursday if you're like within zone 1, 2, or 3, which is just the guys that live close to me, like New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. They usually get it in 2 days. But you're out in Colorado. I think you're in zone 7 or 8, which is one of the farthest away zones to ship to. When I check all the zones when I'm at the post office and sending off the packages, since I live in Vermont, all these places out west are in zone 7 or 8, which is the most difficult and the most time consuming to send to when it's classified as zone 7 or 8. And yeah, that's the zone you're in there, Ed. So, but it usually gets there, even if it's zone 8, it'll get there by Saturday. Sometimes on Sunday. I don't know. It depends on if they deliver on Sundays. I've known post offices that deliver on Sundays if they're behind on their schedule, I think. Anyway, Monday, you probably get it Monday. Let's see. Uh, Bushy says, how do I get my Clovis authenticated without sending it out? No way that's going to be in the mail. They lost my vintage Winchester gun part in the main hub. It went in and never came out. Yeah, don't send your points. Bring your points to a artifact show, and there's bunches of them. Okay, and then someone will probably give you a good idea on the authenticity of it for free. But if you want a piece of paper to go with it, it may cost you $200. It depends on who you ask. But yeah, take it to an artifact show. Yeah, and be careful who you hand it to. If you don't know the person they're handing it to, don't hand it to them. Just say, here it is. No, don't touch it. See, no. I'm kidding, but not really. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Thomas H says you can try your local university, but I wouldn't go to a university to get it authenticated. No. They'll look at you and like, I don't talk to you unless you have a degree. Are you a doctor in archaeology? I mean, they look at you like that. Yeah. Let's see. Or they'll treat you that way. If you don't have a doctorate in archaeology, then you're just a collector, you're dismissed. I can't authenticate it for you. You're dismissed. Museum of Natural History. I find that museum people don't have that much knowledge in artifacts. Believe it or not. That's just my experience. She says, Thomas, Albany might have one for the museum. Yeah, you might get lucky, but I find that museum people don't have much knowledge. They have general knowledge, but they don't have in-depth knowledge of the stuff that they're curating. Let's see. Danny says, no worries. I'll know what you want. Okay. Let's see. Alan Cole says, my girlfriend keeps accusing me of cheating. She's starting to sound like my wife. Dang it. Bushy says, Gary, I can bring it to Letchworth. I showed Ken the point. Yeah, bring it to Letchworth. Yeah. Ask for Corn says, I don't know about taking it well, but $20 is $20. You know what I mean? Let's see. Ed Gould says, he got to Denver yesterday. Denver, Colorado. Yesterday. Now, that was pretty quick to get to Colorado that fast. Let's see. Is it me or is the mic cutting out? Let me see. I better not mess around with it too much. If my mic is cutting out. Audio has done this before. they say. Let's see. Your mic is effed off right now. Mic is effed up. I might have shut it off by mistake. Let's see here. Yeah, everyone's saying, Mike. The mic is off. It's bad. Let's see. When I get the package from Patrick, they go to New Hampshire, says Ralph. Massachusetts, Indiana, Pontiac, Michigan, then to my town. I see. The mic sounds like a robo tripping a bad K-hole. No, only sped up a bit. I got it fixed. Okay, sounds better now. Good. I'll just stop messing with it. That way it doesn't turn off by mistake. It's got a switch on it, and I think the switch is kind of delicate. So it'll switch off, or it'll be in the in-between position. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So how much tell me you got left? We got 25 minutes left. Get your questions in before it's too late. Mike Mason says, who was mind napping? Yeah, who was it? Keith says, okay, Mike is back. I'll start the live stream over. Maybe I'll beat E-Money this time. Ed Gould is E-Money. Did he sneak some points last? Yeah, he got a couple of points last time in the last auction. Was it sneaky? I think one of them was sneaky. I don't remember. Yeah. Everybody will sneak up on everybody else eventually. That's the way it's going so far on the auctions. New people, I've heard different things from new people when they look at the auction. They go, I'm not sure exactly how it works. So I don't want to mess with it. And then some people go, I've tried 4 times and each time I get beat by $1. So bye. Mm-hmm. I just realized I'm the 4th mic because Patrick has one. Yeah. You got to count this mic as one of the mics. Let's see. Ed says, not sneaky. I just don't give up. Yeah. All right. Either way. Alan Cole says, I got sniped the last auction, but it's fine. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad when people are a good sport when they get sniped or, outbid at the last second. And some of you guys are getting really good at outbidding at the last second. I'm watching. I'm saying, dang. It used to be that 50-50 chance these guys would snipe and YouTube says, well, you are on time. Now it's like 80% chance that you're on time. Even with YouTube's glitches, you guys know exactly when to bid so that YouTube counts your time as on time. Yeah. Which makes it a little bit easier for me because now I can trust the order that the bids are coming in and keep refreshing enough times where I can see accurate time postings. It's getting better in some ways, or maybe I'm just getting used to the YouTube format. Yeah, sneaky bidding. Mike Mason says there is points in an auction where someone has to decide if it's them or the other person who is about to pay good money. Yeah. That is true. Bill Taylor says, I've been in and out of the chat. Missed most of it, but I wanted to let you know I sent the box of stuff that I gathered last time I was at GB. Awesome. So you're back now from your errand? Good. Bill Hansen says, when watching someone pressure flake, I sometimes help them by helping them push the flake off. Okay. I'm laughing because I don't know what that means. Mike says, at least they're good points. Yeah. Ralph says, Ed has some deep pockets. Yeah, he's been collecting quite a bit of stuff. He buys stuff not only from me, but he's buying stuff from other guys. Keith says, getting sniped adds excitement to the bids. Oh, yes, it does. If you like that kind of excitement. Yeah. Alan Cole says, hopefully Patrick wants some hand rolled tobacco soon and I can bypass the auction. Oh, I see. Yeah. Let me see here. um, what did I do with the last box I got from Alan Cole? Again, I'm stacking these boxes. I can't remember. But yeah, thanks, Alan. Thanks, Alan Cole. Thanks, Alan, for all the things you sent me. You sent me quite a bit of stuff. Gary says, Fro, you're going to trade that point for antlers? LOL. Alrighty. 9:40. That means 20 minutes left. 20 minutes left in the live stream. Yeah. And if you're new, you don't know what the auction is. I have an auction every Monday. I try to make points every week to post in the auctions, and it supports my habit. Yeah. So if you want to support my habit, watch the auctions and bid once in a while. I do monetize the auction videos after the auction has ended. I don't monetize the live stream videos. So if you super chat, it helps pay for my time making these live streams, but you don't have to. Uh, uh, let's see. Lately, I had to make sure that the ads on my videos didn't pop up in the middle of the videos. I hope that's working. If you've noticed that there's ads popping up in the middle of my videos, just let me know because I don't think they're supposed to be popping up in the middle. Maybe on the ends, yeah, but in the middle, they're not supposed to be. I opted out of that latest upgrade, so called, to YouTube, where they're trying to increase ad revenue for everybody. That's what they say. Mine has remained the same no matter how many videos I post. I can post 3 videos a week or 15 videos a week and I still have the same ad revenue. It's funny how that works. The only time I get a lot of ad revenue is if one of my videos blows up and gets more than 50,000 views or something. But that's rare. Once it gets past 100,000 views, it starts making pretty good money. But yeah, most of my videos are under 1,000 views, sometimes 1,500. And once in a while, maybe once every couple of months, I get a video that people like, that really liked, and goes kind of viral for a Flintnapping video anyway. And that's when ad revenue is better. Mike Mason says, Pat, real question. Can you sum up finer points of interest when building the turkey roaster? Not the double stack. Cover emphasis and insights maybe not stressed enough. Cover emphasis and insights. Yeah, the turkey roaster cover should be insulated. That's all the advice that I give. Plus, inserting the temperature gauge. The temperature gauge changed my heat treatment a lot. I mean, the stones would survive. I would just have to mark where on the dial the experiments were successful. But now that I have an actual temperature gauge screwed into the side of the turkey roaster, it works a lot better. There's nothing much to say about the lid or the cover of the turkey roaster other than just use heavy duty aluminum foil to contain the insulation within the lid. That's the easiest way to do it. I suppose there's either easier ways to insulate the lid, like you can. I think there's like fire retardant or fireproof spray in foam insulation that you could spray in there and then cut it level after it expands, and then you don't need aluminum foil between the pan and the lid. You don't need to wrap aluminum foil around the lid. One of the things that the aluminum foil does when you wrap it around the rim of the lid to contain the insulation is that heat escapes because the aluminum foil is kind of crinkly. around the edges, so it's not a tight seal. A tighter seal would give you better efficiency. It won't cost as much to heat the stones, but I don't know how much efficiency you're losing. I don't have any real finer points actually on the lids of these roasters. I think an actual kitchen oven works a lot better. Some guys use air fryers. I've never tried an air fryer to heat stones. I would assume that it heats up too fast and cools down too fast, but they say I've heard it works. I don't know. Mike says, Don, do you think modern digital thermometer is okay option? I just considering the gaps. Uh, I've used a digital thermometer or a digital temperature gauge for one of my turkey roasters, and the plastic part of the digital temperature gauge melted. And instead of being straight up and down, it tipped like this. And I said, what happened to that temperature gauge? Sure enough, I looked around the back and it had melted where the steel, attaches to the temperature gauge. That's a plastic connection there to the steel, and it melted and it drooped down. So I'm saying that's not good. That can't be good. So I use all steel temperature gauges. Mike Mason says, I think one uses a wire. Yeah, you can use that type of temperature gauge. It just has a wire. Bren says, I use fireproof fiberglass mat from like the inside of a hood of an old car for the domed part of the lid covered in aluminum. Works just fine. Yeah, I've in the past I've used just regular fiberglass insulation. Um, right now I'm just going to use crinkled up aluminum for the gap. Just fill it up with crinkled up aluminum and then hold it in place with more aluminum foil. That's how I'm going to do my latest one. How hot can you get a deep fryer? Says Ferto Joe. I have no idea. I think it's 400 degrees, but I could be wrong. Sal's Tall Turkey Roaster is a Westinghouse brand, big enough to fit a big Texas-sized brisket in it. I see. Yeah. I assume that costs some money, too. More than just a regular Walmart special, reduced price turkey roaster on clearance. That's the only time I buy turkey roasters from the store, when they're on clearance. Brennan says, I just got a Ninja roaster with a digital readout I'm going to use for smaller loads of rock. Awesome. Alan Cole says, I'm getting ready to pick up my box truck. Gotta run. Excellent group of humans as always. Much love, everybody. I gotta run. See you Monday. All right. See you later, Alan. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for all the comments. Yeah. Like I said, YouTube loves the comments. And these live streams are always a lot of fun. Yeah. Actually enjoyable. It's one of the enjoyable parts of being in a Flintnapping community. Yeah. It offsets all the questions like, where do I find the flint? How do you get them thin? Where do you find rocks that you can make 9 to 12-inch blades? Where? Those are the kinds of conversations I don't want to have. Yeah. Just go to a Knapping. That's why I post Knappings in all my video comment sections, or I try to post the Knapping list in every video comment section. If I miss it or if I'm slacking, you let me know. Brandon says, yeah, sorry, I've been off my comment game, Patrick. That's all right. No worries. I've been off my reading the comments game. Yeah. Ask for Corn says, probe thermostat and asbestos combo works. Very good. Brent says, love helping the algorithm as much as I love debating. I see. Yeah. I was watching a video today actually on algorithms and how they work. And one of the key points of advice that the narrator was giving was that algorithms are basically imitating your audience. It shifts slightly for each creator, right? So it's geared to the audience. So what the algorithm does is it mirrors what the audience is doing. So it tries to feed the audience what it wants to eat, basically. So the key is to focus in on your audience and what your audience wants, and that'll match up to what the algorithm is most favorable. Uh, what the algorithm thinks is most favorable for your videos. Yeah, so I'm thinking, what can I do other than tell you where to find the stones and how to make them thin and how to make 12-inch blades. Yeah, I know all that would draw attention. But sorry, it draws attention because no one talks about it for good reason. Yeah. Let's see. Ralph says turkey roaster lid idea. Okay. Cut a thin sheet of aluminum, same size as lid, and pop rivet this sheet to lid after insulation is added. Oh yeah, you can pop rivet that for sure. That is a good idea. Mike Mason says, love its look. AFC, I think you got a point, and Pat too, but I think I will use high temp JB weld around the entry. Except I don't know if it's worth it. Hmm. Yeah, you can use high temperature JB weld, right? It resists temperatures pretty high. I don't know what the upper limit is, but turkey roasters don't get above 500 degrees in most cases. What if you use a candy thermometer for high reads? Well, candy thermometers, I've never seen them go up over 300 and some odd degrees because you're just looking to keep track of the temperature of the sugar, which should never go too high. It should never go off the scale on a little candy thermometer. I have used those too, but they don't go high enough. In other words, uh, Ask for Corn says that or just sweat it. Yeah, you can just wing it and then hope everything goes right on the heat treats. Yeah, even when I did that in the beginning, it still came out pretty good in many cases. Keith says I napped a nice looking point last night. Then I woke up surrounded by marbles. Yeah, you dream about Flintnapping too? Yeah, I've had dreams about Flintnapping, and it's always a napping the black butter stuff. Almost always. Yeah. I had a guy that asked me to do some more of these Scotch Bluff stuff out of the black butter. And I'm going, dang it. I wish I had larger pieces of that stuff. I save all the small flakes. So I get a lot of small flakes of black butter obsidian. I like the little ones because I make little arrowheads out of those. The kind that I like to make. But I need to look around and see if I have larger pieces of that buttery black obsidian. AFC says, I dreamt I drunk the world's biggest margarita. I woke up and there was salt on the toilet rim. Oh, why do you do that to me? Mike Mason says, LOL, Keith is on the way to mind napping marbles. Yeah. Only time I can make something sharp is when I'm dreaming. I see. Kiowa says, napping while napping. Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to wrap up the live stream here in 7 minutes. What was funny is last time, I think, about 10 people showed up in the last 3 minutes of a live stream. So I ended up going like 10 minutes over. Yeah. I'm not going to go 10 minutes over on this one. I'm already pooped. I'm worn out. And I didn't even do anything. And there wasn't that many questions. Right? I didn't have to rack my brain on anything or talk about anything that required a lot of smack talking. Yeah. It was a pretty calm live stream this time. Kyle says I'm plumb tuckered out. Yeah. We're just here to relax and unwind and decompress. Yeah. Although this is basically the time where I need to be the most active. I get more and more active as the time approaches the auction. Like on Tuesday, it's pretty chill. I just do the shipping and I usually don't do anything else except maybe go to the store and run errands. And then Wednesday, I do a little more work, especially on projects on the side. And then as the week progresses, it gets busier and busier. So by Monday morning, I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And Sunday is an intensely busy day. So yeah, the live stream that's the hardest for me to do as far as staying awake for it is the Monday live stream. But at least I get to help people if they're having trouble with the chat. I mean, having trouble with the auction. But it's also a good time on Monday because, um, yeah, because it's during the hours where a lot of people are already tuned in watching YouTube. Yeah. AFC says, ever had a server upset your alcoholic drink by suggesting a floater? Don't buy it, y'all. Let's see. Mike Mason says, sounds like a $20 that I don't have, AFC. Yeah, Ralph says, roller skating in a room full of marbles. AFC says, Mike Mason, I'm going to be just like you when I grow up. AFC says, upsell. Where you made a, let's see. Where did you make an error in your spelling? I'm trying to figure that one out. I don't know. Okay, I see. Ever had a server upsell your alcoholic drink by suggesting a floater? Don't buy it, y'all. Oh, I see. Increase the cost of your drink by adding a floater. I see. Ross Wellman says, good night, everybody. See you on Monday. All righty. See you later, Ross. Yep, yeah. Mike says, I think AFC and I are friends. Mac Bale says, enjoyed lurking tonight, Kiowa. I am plumb tuckered out too. Sleep tight, everybody. Oh, yeah. I'm going to sleep very well tonight. Yep, yep. And it's raining too, so that helps. It's just a constant slow rain. Let's see. Yep, everyone say good night. Good night, buddy, or air buddy. TJ's new life just showed up. Hello, hello. He showed up last time. No, he was here pretty early last time. TJ's from Australia. We got 3 minutes left, TJ. Everyone's saying good night. Yep. Even Brennan is saying good night, everybody. Gary says, no trolls tonight. Yeah. Complete absence of trolls and barely any comments that I couldn't read. I mean, there might have been one that I didn't want to read. Yeah. But no trolls at all. Yeah. Bill Taylor says, I'm going to head out too, but if you need a box of black obsidian, I can send you a box. Yeah. I got one request specifically for items made of black butter obsidian, and I've gotten a couple other requests for some flakes of that stuff and Clovis of that stuff. So yeah, if you could send me a box of black butter, that'd be awesome and fantastic. Oh, I hit the on air button with my foot. It's giving me a hint. I should turn it off anyway. Yeah, it'll indicate the ending of the live stream. Kyle says this was a great stream, very relaxing. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're off the air in a minute. Yeah, TJ, 3 minutes to hit the like button. Everyone say goodbye to TJ and everyone say hello to TJ and say goodbye to TJ at the same time. I'll watch the replay, says TJ. Oh, yes. No trolls allowed, says Ralph, unless they hit the like button and keep it clean. Yeah, but then they're not a troll because they're contributing to the live stream and doing something positive. Trolls hate to do something positive. Yeah. Let's see. All right, you guys are awesome, says Mike. Yep, take care. Keith says, it feels like I'm in the grocery store, like when the cashier turns the lights off. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. It has switched over to 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to stop the live stream. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating. Next live stream is Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Be there or be square, or be square and be there anyway. Yeah. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time. All righty. Bye bye.